Barabbas. I'm a zealot. I'm a group of these very intense people that are zealously keeping the Torah, the laws, the teachings of Moses. We've been part of doing what is right. You know, those Pharisees and those Sadducees, they just don't have enough drive to defend the law. And they don't have enough drive to defend our ways. My group, we are filled with zeal and we are passionate about teaching people what it means to be a follower of the law of Moses and what Moses gave us. There are really three primary things that we believe. First of all, we believe that the only king is Yahweh. And everybody needs to acknowledge it. Number two, we believe that we will establish the reign of Yahweh by getting rid of all the pagans and breaking all the yokes of oppression and tyranny that are upon us. And we believe that we have to be separated from the Gentiles because we are the chosen of God. And we will have triumph as we pursue purity and follow God. They say that I'm being released from prison today. I was put in prison for being a part of an insurrection. And I'm being released, and that man they call Jesus, he's going to be kept in prison. They say he's going to be crucified. I don't get it. I've been very passionate about teaching about the Torah and getting everyone to follow it. I know that I was a part of an uprising, and well, those dreadful Romans, they stand for the wrong things, and they're trying to oppress us, and they're trying to beat us down, and they're saying negative things about us Jews, and they're trying to control us, and that's not going to happen in my watch. I will do all I can to tear those people down. They deserve everything we got. And I know that one day Yahweh, He's going to take over. And I know that there will be a Messiah that will come. We've read about it. We heard it in the Torah.
I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and her offspring. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel.
Even the prophet Isaiah, he talked quite a bit about this coming Messiah.
Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. Behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel.
Micah, he prophesied that the king would come from Bethlehem.
But you, O Bethlehem Ephratah, who are too little to be among the clans of Judah, from you shall come for me one who is to be ruler in Israel, whose origin is from of old, from ancient days, eternity.
Malachi, he prophesied that the Messiah would enter into the temple.
Behold, I send my messenger, and he will prepare the way before me. Then suddenly the Lord whom you seek will come to his temple, and the messenger of the covenant in whom you delight. Behold, he is coming, says the Lord of hosts.
Isaiah, he talked about a bleak time in our history, and then he said this.
The people walking in darkness have seen a great light, and on those living in the land of the shadow of death, a light has dawned.
Isaiah, he talked about the coming Messiah.
For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace.
We have all these prophecies and more about this coming Messiah and what he's going to do for us Jews, that is. We're the chosen people, and I believe that one day the Messiah will come. And when he does, I'm sure that he's going to take over those Romans. He's going to put them in their place. But this Jesus, I don't understand who he is. I first heard about him a few years ago. He invited these guys to come and follow him. He says, come and follow me, and I'm going to make you fishers of men. What does that mean? I have never caught one of those guys. And he went around the countryside, and he taught people, and he was preaching and teaching, and he said a lot of great things. He said it's the right way of living, and he told us this is how we're supposed to live our life. He calls them truths. He even spoke words from the Torah and the prophets and the teachings from long ago. And when he quotes the Torah or the prophets, he says them, and then he says this. He says something like this. You have heard that it was said, but I tell you. And he seems to grow and expand that. In his teachings, he seems to believe that there is so much more. He's quoting things that I believe and that I try and follow, and yet he doesn't go about it the same way I do. I'm passionate. Man, am I passionate. I want to make sure that all the people understand what it means. I've been focused on teaching people what it means to be a follower of the Torah and the law, and I'm very zealous. I guess that's why they call us zealots, right? I've been determined to overthrow the Roman government. They are so awful, and I want to make sure that I can keep us as Jewish people undefiled. You know, those Jews, we're good people, and the Gentiles, they keep wanting to come in and get a part of our profit. Our promise, and they want to get into what we have, but I was sure that I had the message right till now. I've been convinced that not everyone can be a part of the community of God. I've been convinced that not everyone can come, and I have to weed out the trash, you know, the inbreds and the pures and the ones that aren't all Jewish. I've had to drive them away, I thought. And I've been trying to get through the thick skulls of our Jewish people, but there's some hard-headed people. They don't want to do it my way always. I was sure that I was right until I met Jesus. I was on my way to somewhere. I don't even remember where it was. I was walking down this road, and I ran into this crowd. It wasn't a big crowd at first. In fact, it was pretty small, but it kept on growing and growing and growing. And eventually, we ended up on a mountainside. It was kind of cool. As we were there, I must say, I can never forget that day, because as I was there on the hillside, it was a clear day. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. It seemed like the birds were singing, but they weren't singing. It's like you could hear them, but you couldn't hear them. And he seemed like he was right beside me when he talked. His voice was so clear, and yet he was far away up on the hillside. And he taught all of us, began to teach us, and he said, this is how you're supposed to live. It was very convincing. He said stuff like this.
Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. For truly I tell you that until heaven and earth disappear, not the smallest letter, nor the least stroke of a pen, will by any means disappear from the law until everything is accomplished. Therefore, anyone who sets aside one of the least of these commands and teaches others accordingly will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever practices and teaches these commands will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I tell you that unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven. You have heard that it was said to people long ago, you shall not murder, and anyone who murders will be subject to judgment. But I tell you that anyone who is angry with a brother or a sister will be subject to judgment. Again, anyone who says to a brother or sister, Raka, is answerable to the court. And anyone who says, you fool, will be in danger of the fire of hell.
I believe that we need to stand up for the law. I believe that when people don't agree with us and imprison us, well, so be it. It's okay. I agree that the law has to be fulfilled, and it's what I've been trying to get people to understand and to be a part of. And I agree that we have to be doing more than the Pharisees are doing. They don't got it. They're just people that are wimpy. The Romans, they need to think differently, and they need to act differently. They're just a bunch of mean, horrible people. And the Pharisees and the Sadducees, oh, they're wimpy. They're just wimpy. They don't want to stand up to anybody. can't be like that. I have to stand up to the truth at all times. And hungering and thirsting for righteousness? I don't get it. I like a good meal and I like a cold glass of water, but to hunger and thirst for righteousness? I don't know what that means. I thought my heart was pure, but now I'm not sure. I haven't been much of a peacekeeper, but those Romans, I always have believed that they deserve more than they're getting. My motto has been, I will not get even, I will get ahead. Doesn't seem to be working very well. And the Pharisees and the Sadducees, they've never defended us as Jews very well. They try and impose their own things. And they're not a bunch of people that I want to follow anyhow. So I'm glad that he said some of this stuff. And I'm glad that he said, if you're persecuted, well, then you're blessed. Maybe I've not been persecuted. Maybe I've just been getting what I deserved.
You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also. If anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, hand over your coat as well. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2. Give to the one who asks you, and do not turn away from the one who wants to borrow from you. You have heard that it was said to love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven. He causes the sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. If you love only those who love you, what reward will you get? Are not even the tax collectors doing that? And if you greet only your own people, what are you doing more than others? Do not even pagans do that? Be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect.
I'm not supposed to resist an evil person? Are you kidding me? Does he really think that I can love those Romans? They've been a burden to us Jews, and I will never love them. They deserve to be destroyed. They've mistreated us. They've misused us. They've taken away our freedoms. To love them? Ain't no way. I remember when they took away our olive grove. That was a horrible day. Man, I want to hurt those people. They don't deserve to be loved. Of course, when they do deserve it, I'm sure I will love them. I will passionately follow the commands of Moses. He gave us this, and he allows for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. I like that. I don't understand why he wants to tell me I can't fight back. And to be perfect? Well, there's no way I can be perfect. I can't be perfect by myself. It's impossible. He said that we're not to worry and that we're going to be taken care of even better than the birds.
But
Really?
seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well.
Seek his kingdom and his righteousness. I've been seeking a Messiah. I've been passionately pursuing to make sure that the Messiah can come in the right way. But somehow I think he's talking about something else. I think he's describing a way that's different than mine. He seems so calm and loving all at the same time. Maybe he's speaking the truth. And then he said, we're not supposed to judge others. I don't know about those Romans. I'm not judging them. They are out to destroy us. They want to kill us. And those Gentiles, they're just trying to get in on our promise. They're not going to have it. The Romans are horrible people. They deserve to be destroyed. They're just a bunch of broke down old camels, and they're trying to push their agenda on me, and it's not going to happen. I will not give in. It will not happen. But somehow, I don't think that's what he's talking about. He seems to be talking about my attitude, about my heart.
Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives, and the one who seeks finds, and to the one who knocks, the door will be opened.
You know, I've been asking for years for this king to come and take over the world. I would love nothing better than to put those Romans in their place and to see them destroyed. Give us Jews what we deserve. That's been my passion in life. I've been working for years to make this happen. There's been some real challenges along the way, even this last arrest. It feels like he's coming back to this attitude thing again, and he keeps telling me that my motivation seems to be wrong. And why does he keep saying stuff like this?
Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate, and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. Watch out for false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ferocious wolves. By their fruit you will recognize them. Do people pick grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? Likewise, every good tree bears good fruit, but a bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Thus, by their fruit you will recognize them. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. Many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and in your name drive out demons, and in your name perform many miracles? Then I will tell them plainly, I never knew you. Away from me, you evildoers.
Wonder if he's talking about me. I've tried to do what is right, and I've tried hard to do what I believe is taught in the writing of Moses. I've tried to help my people, the Jews, to stand up for the truth. I've asked for the king to come and to take over, and I've been doing all that I thought that we were supposed to do. And then he says stuff like this. Is he saying that I might not have the right attitude? Is he saying that I might be a false prophet? Is he saying that I don't understand? I don't understand. I'm doing all this to help grow the kingdom of Yahweh, and I'm sure that I've not always found the right way, and I've not always done it right, and I know that not everybody likes it. They need to, but they haven't, and I know that I've been arrested several times, and even the leaders of the temple think I'm a little whacked out, but I wonder if that would be considered as bad fruit. I wonder if he's saying that I'm going about it wrong, and I need to have a change of attitude.
Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, the winds blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like the foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash.
I thought I could do it my way. I thought I could share and to teach the way that I wanted it would make a difference. Doesn't my passion get me what I want? Doesn't my zeal make it right? Doesn't it matter that I believe something, even if it's a little different than what he teaches? I wonder if he was speaking the truth to me that day and I missed it. After that day, I became even more passionate about my faith. I became even more passionate about helping people to understand the law and the teachings of the Torah. I've been convinced that I was doing it right and it would bring about a big change. I was sure that I was doing everything the correct way. Until now. I'm certain I will never forget that day. It was so good. And now looking back, it seems that maybe I missed what he was teaching. I did lead a rebellion. I was determined to get my point across. I wanted to make sure that those despicable, horrible Romans understood what we Jews were all about and who we were and what we needed to do. But now I wonder, that uprising, it wasn't supposed to be violent. Nobody was supposed to get hurt. It just happened that way. I just wanted to get a point across. I wanted to make sure that people understood nobody was supposed to die. Nobody was supposed to get hurt. It could have turned out so different, but it didn't. And now I wonder, Why am I free and he's not? I know that he's a better man than I am. I know that he's got it right. And I know that every time I've been a part of these rebellions, I've walked away feeling a little empty and a little hopeless on the inside. And I know that every time I followed his path, it seemed to me a much better one. I've been so passionate, but it kind of sometimes seems to get in my way because I'm doing it my way. And every time Jesus spoke to me, and when I listened, he seemed so genuine, so loving, and so kind. I'm pretty sure that I've never experienced love from anybody like I've experienced from him. He says that he's going to usher in a new kingdom, one that's different from the way I'm trying to go about it. You know, every time I try and bring things on in a new way, bam, something goes wrong. It doesn't go right. I wonder if he's right. You know, quite frankly, I'm getting a little tired of doing it my way. I'm getting tired of trying to prove a point. I'm getting tired of going nowhere. I'm getting tired of hating the Romans. It takes so much energy. I wonder.
Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light.
I wonder if he's talking to someone like me. If I become one of his followers, will he truly give me rest? Will he give me guidance? Will he teach me how to live? Maybe he meant what he said when he said this.
Whoever is not with me is against me, and whoever does not gather with me scatters. And so I tell you, every kind of sin and slander can be forgiven, but blasphemy against the Spirit will not be forgiven. Anyone who speaks a word against the Son of Man will be forgiven, but anyone who speaks against the Holy Spirit will not be forgiven, either in this age or in the age to come. Make a tree good, and its fruit will be good, or make a tree bad, and its fruit will be bad. For a tree is recognized by its fruit. You brood of vipers, how can you, who are evil, say anything good? For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. A good man brings good things out of the good stored up in him, and an evil man brings evil things out of the evil stored up in him. But I tell you that everyone will have to give account on the day of judgment for every empty word that they have spoken. For by your words you will be acquitted, and by your words you will be condemned.
I thought I was on the right side. I thought I was doing what I was supposed to do. Until today. Today it all changes. His words keep ringing in my ears. I wonder if he really is the Messiah, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. If he's everything he says he is, I've missed it. I've been passionate and zealous to do what I thought was right and would make the kingdom come and make the Messiah come. I was expecting a political king. I was expecting someone to take over the Romans. I thought I could do it my way. I thought I could change things. And today I'm being set free. And he's going to be crucified. I caused an insurrection. People died. He loved. Didn't do anything wrong. He was preaching and teaching, sharing, saying good things, and he spoke of good things. He talked about his Father. He did things that were right, and he helped us understand that there's a right way to live and a wrong way to live. He made it all sound so possible, so attainable. And yet we can't do it on our own. They say he hasn't even defended himself. I've heard that every time he looks at people, his face is filled with love. Pilate, he's confused. He doesn't know what to say. He keeps saying, "Who is this man? Who is he? Maybe I need to make some changes in my life. Who is he?"